Hi guys, I'm Shmee. Hello to you. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to a lovely day in Germany where we're going to go out for a drive in my McLaren 675 LT Spider. Now, believe it or not, this car is soon to celebrate its second anniversary. I have owned it for nearly 2 years. In that time, we have done an awful lot of things, but loads of you have been asking me what could possibly replace it. Well, let's talk about that today while we go for a drive on some wonderful countryside roads, a location I've filmed at before in quite different circumstances. I'll tell you about that in a moment. Then we'll also go over to the Autobahn to stretch the legs, maybe go for a blast up to 300 kilometers an hour and experience full-on supercar. So today, it's all about the LT Spider. I've brought the car today to the Grosser Feldberg. We're about half an hour north of Frankfurt, but as you can hear and see in the background, there are tons of motorcyclists here, which is kind of unsurprising because it's a tremendous road to go and enjoy, but very different to the last time I was here. In fact, I came here with my Mercedes-AMG GTR back at the very tail end of last year when it was completely covered in snow. It was when that car became the Schneemobile, the first time that we took the beast of the black hell to the white hell, although had a lot of fun while we were doing it. Today, very different. It's almost 30 degrees. The roof will be down on the LT Spider, but like I said, there are lots of bikes, lots of cyclists as well enjoying the roads out here, unsurprisingly. So let me talk immediately about the LT Spider. This car has done a VMAX run, it's done track days, it's been around Spa, it's been around the Nürburgring, it's been around the Nürburgring GP circuit, it's done just about everything, daily driving, road trips. It went down to Croatia, Montenegro, Bosnia on Fuel Faction, it's been to Spain, it's probably been to more countries than most people. This is a very well-traveled machine. 17,000 kilometers, that's just under 11,000 miles in the 2 years. But I am first just gonna let you know that in case you were genuinely worried I might be selling it, I'm not. All of you have been asking me what could replace it. Nothing could directly replace this car in my garage. This car is a keeper for as long as I possibly can. As long as, let's say, funds allow and I can still find a use for it, I will still be going out there and driving it properly as you should, because to me it is the definition of a supercar, and I'll talk more about this while I'm driving it. So yes, there are options for what could join in the garage. We can talk about things like the 488 Pista, the Lamborghini Performante Spider, GT2 RS, which is a fantastically fast machine, 720S, 720 LT version, we'll get to more of these. But this car, spec'd like this, the controversy we had with the silver wheels that I then did with the silver pinstripes that match the silver interior, my own choice of the paint colour, the MSO Orion Purple, which if we just turn on a light and come in here, you can see the sparkle in the flake on it, the cerulean blue flake, the previous colour of my LT Coupe. But basically everything about this is me in a car, from the 12C to the 650 to the LT Coupe, then to the LT Spider, stepping up, doing so many miles between them. But if I just come around and jump in, roof down, this experience, one of my favourite things is the front end turn in. It is just fantastic to drive this car. Step in. I know you've seen all of this before, but just for the moment, I've unclipped the seat buckle while I'm doing it. Let's fire it into life. And you can see 17,500 kilometers on the trip now with the car. It's getting used properly. It has done just about everything. My unique touches with the purple painted on the handling and powertrain toggles. But let's head out onto this road and talk a little bit more about some of the options. When it comes down to sensification, listen to this. If I put the car into active dynamics panel, drop some gears, so we're manually shifting the rocker panels here, the noises you get out of this thing, that kind of crack, there's nothing else that does that, apart from maybe the 720S, but it's not quite the same even in that car. It's just, the engine is bolted to the top, it feels so raw, it defines supercar, everything about it. The steering wheel is small, Alcantara wheel that you're holding, the seating position inside the carbon top, the technology like the rocker paddles that you can push or pull both ways, the brake steering as well that just tucks you in even more around the corners. The steering sensation of the 675 LT is literally one of the very best. Maybe at slow speed it doesn't have a great turning radius. In fact, it has a pretty shockingly awful turning radius. You find yourself doing like 9-point turns to turn around in the middle of the road. But then you get out and you're really pushing on and it comes completely into its own. So unbelievably connected that I just don't think anything that has actually come out since this car actually does better. As we get out here just into the stretch again. It's just silly. So much fun. memory of the power from the twin turbos. It keeps on going. We'll experience more of that out on the Autobahn. Just wait for a moment, we can turn across here. Lots of bikers absolutely everywhere today. As I mentioned, we've got a few turns up ahead of us. Maybe just give them some space. The only problem that you then have with a car like this is it's so darn fast you can't actually drive it to the limit. You get to the red line in this thing, and if you're in third gear at the red line, you're going astronomically quickly. You don't want to be doing that out on small roads, or you're going to find yourself in a spot of bother very, very quickly, believe me. But everything about it, how could anything replace this? The acceleration is just ridiculous, and then when you get to tight corners, the turn-in and confidence at the front end of this thing. Seriously. Wow! Woohoo! Now, before we get out onto the main road, I want to put the roof up, because roof down on the Autobahn is pretty intense. So we can do that while we're driving, so long as you keep it under about 25 miles per hour, 40 kilometers per hour. So, out we roll, keep the speed down just until the roof is done. I always feel a little bit awkward, but there's nobody behind me right now, so fingers crossed. There we go. Done. And we can put the rear window down to still get the noise, and then business as usual. I guess many of you will know by now that I've been alluding to a surprise that is coming in a couple of weeks' time, so stay tuned, watch this space for that. But in the meantime, let's have a quick run through some of the cars that compete in this sector of the market, some of the options that you guys have been throwing at me. And I'm going to start with the Ferrari 488 Pista, the upgraded hardcore version of the 488 GTB that in my eyes took that 488 and made it look so much better. Not quite as good as the recent SP38 Deborah, but the Pista incorporates all sorts of technology, the S-duct at the front, over 700 horsepower. The thing is though, to get on Ferrari's shortlist for a limited series car like that means not only do you need to have an amazing relationship and bought loads of cars, but I think specifically you need to have a Speciale that you had from new, and also another recent new Ferrari. So that pretty much rules me out. The only one I've ever owned is a used FF, so as much as I would be interested in a Pista, not possible. The next option, the Lamborghini Huracan Performante and the Performante Spider. Now when I drove the Performante Coupe, I'm not going to lie, I wasn't completely blown away by it. Yes, it is fantastically fast, yes, it sounds incredible, but the handling, the four-wheel drive system's handling isn't the same as a car like this that has next to no weight up there from the extra mechanics that are required. It just didn't quite light my spark. So the fact that it's not a limited edition in either Coupe or Spider form means there are loads of them already, the prices are already tumbling down. It doesn't shout out to me. Now the other Lamborghini, the Aventador SV, doesn't have a dual clutch, is far too heavy, has no practicality for taking on an adventure anywhere. Another problem with the Huracan, still doesn't have a very big boot space. So Lambos, there just isn't one that ticks the boxes. Porsche GT2 RS, incredible piece of kit. When I drove it, I couldn't get my head around, well, the braking capabilities, but also just how easy it is to use the aero. At slow speed, it has so much grip, slow, tighter corners, twisty corners, like the Nürburgring style driving. Just out of this world. This car has more grip at very high speeds. This is clearly suited to Formula 1 circuits, to that Grand Prix style, high downforce, high speed style, whereas the GT2 RS is more about tighter, more nimble driving. But again, you have to be a very, very big Porsche customer to get yourself on the list for a GT2 RS. So absolutely no chance for me. I was pretty lucky that I got the allocation at Porsche Centrum Amsterdam for the GT3, but even a GT3 RS would be a challenge. A GT2 RS, just not gonna happen. Just, we get these signs again, drop it down some gears, foot down. It's ridiculously fast, this car. It is just so, just gently building up the power. The torque is there, whatever you do. 700 newton meters of torque, 675 horsepower. So there are, I suppose, some of the rival options. Let's talk about McLaren. The 720S. I love the 720S, but there have been huge numbers of teething problems, and that's why I never moved into one up to this stage. I expect next year that we will see the Spider convertible version somewhere in 2019. And then a lot of you have asked me, what about the 720 LT, the long-tail version? So I suppose technically the successor to this. Well, firstly, it won't be 720, it will be, insert another number, 750, 760, who knows what they'll do, LT. But by the time we see that, I think at the earliest it's 2021, 3 years away. So to get a car delivered, you're talking 3 or 4 years from now. So let's pretty much dismiss that because it's so distant that I can't plan that far ahead. I'm sure I'd be interested in it when the time comes, but it's a long way from now. So that is the potential, I guess, horizon. The cars I would be interested mostly in are the Pista and the GT2 RS, but I can't get them. So that's not going to happen. Obviously the Ford GT, which is in this segment, is soon to arrive, but I see that quite a different proposition to this car. Firstly, Coupe Spider. Secondly, the GT has this historical significance, the 50th anniversary of the GT40, the success at Le Mans, the fact that it's a car that's built as a race car and then number plates are put back onto it, just makes it might not even be as fast as this, but it will have more aero. It's race mode where it just hunkers and drops down, and it's so special. There are only going to be a handful of them, so the GT is coming, but in terms of a replacement for this, there's basically nothing out there anyway. We're hopefully not too far now from the Autobahns, because I want to push this. Here we go, it is Autobahn time, so fingers crossed it's not going to be too busy, but in any case, we get to use some of the revs in this car. Out we go, foot flat. Goodness me! Okay then, 200 already. 230, 250, and I'm going to go on the brakes. 250 kilometers an hour, just like that. That's what's so astonishing about this thing. It's just the non-stop, incredible power delivery. It keeps on going and surging forwards in a way that, however fast a normal supercar could be, it won't do that. I mean, that's up to 270 with such ease. Such complete, fantastic ease. And the brakes are good as well, by the way. If you need to slam on the brakes, although we just had the supercar effect of somebody tucking straight back in as soon as they saw a low and wide car behind them in their mirror. People in Germany are so good with their lane discipline and checking behind. I always find that you don't have to be aggressive or pushy to people. They will tuck over if it's clear in front of them, and they're obviously slowing you down from driving at such a speed if you wish to be. What is that in front of us? That's a Weissman. You don't see very many of those around at all. Cool. That must be an MF5 GT maybe? No, we've got to slow down now, unfortunately, but that's very nice. Good colour choice. Coming up towards my favourite sign, so we can drop some gears and get ready to go again. God, so grippy. These tyres. Madness. Absolute madness, the speed with which it does this. 280 and onto the brakes. 280 kilometers an hour in that short a distance. That is what's so unbelievably crazy. That's, what, 170 odd miles an hour? Just like that. And away we go again. Goodness me, even in a corner, it holds on so well. And this guy hasn't seen us coming, so on the brakes, the air brake up in the air, you get the ginormous air brake up behind you. When you even lightly, actually when you're going really fast, if you just lift off, it puts the air brake up, which is all about rear stability, I suppose, and making sure the car is controlled. But this is a dead arrow straight stretch. Unfortunately, just a few too many cars about today. It is quite frankly ludicrous how quickly this car picks up speed. Amusingly, we're now following an AMG GTC Roadster roof down, but this car from like 150k's to 250k's, there is just a phenomenal amount of power. Above that, the AMG GTR definitely feels quicker, the way it pulls through to 300 in a way that I don't necessarily think this can, and that's perhaps the downforce because of course it's a track car, which means it doesn't have quite as much, it has a little bit more drag than if it didn't have all the appendages like extra wing, extra end plates at the front, that side of things. It's actually quite cool following this, but when you're in this car's range, the way it goes, and you feel it, you know it's doing that. A little too busy today to fully open the taps, but you know what, in any case, every single drive in the 675 LT is such a sense of occasion, such a dramatic event. I really wouldn't change it for anything, even though 2 years in the YouTube world is a very long time to own a car. I think most people chop and change vastly quicker than that, but this has been my flagship up to this point since I bought this car 2 years ago now, since those early videos and first memories. And that's one of the big things, the personal memories that have come from the things that I've been doing with this car, the videos that you've seen along the way. Anyway, it's time now for its second service. It's a fantastic thing. I might add to the collection in due course, but I'm not going to be replacing this. Nothing could replace my McLaren 675 LT Spider, the Shmeemobile to me. That is this car in a nutshell. Anyway, thank you very much, as always, for watching, guys. I appreciate your support. Make sure to stay tuned, though, for the things that are coming around the corner, the Ford GT specification and information, but also this surprise. What is that going to be? Anyway, that's it for now. I'll see you very soon. Cheers.